Hello, hello. If you were looking for the wholesome dog, you have found it. Congratulations. Good job. Hope it wasn't that difficult. We are so glad you're here. Um, as folks continue to trickle in, I just want to say hello, introduce myself, and then enough of me, and we'll get to our guest of honor this evening. But my name is Julie Lynn. I'm one of two co-founders of the Wholesome Dog, and if this is your first time here, welcome. Wendy, my co-founder, and I are two crazy dog moms who have been through the frustrations, the agony, the ecstasy, and the joy of having dogs and cats for decades now. And we created the Wholesome Dog last year because we were tired of searching high and low for answers and resources to help our dogs live their longest, healthiest lives possible and not being able to sufficiently find them. So we've created this website and community. We offer mostly free resources for pet parents and pet professionals like you on topics from nutrition to health and wellness to behavior and everything in between. Um, After Angela is done sharing the gospel of mushroom and hemp with us tonight, yes, that's right. I see some hands up. That's right. We're going to church tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Um, it's a different kind of church where dogs rule and God spelled backwards dog, don't
And
forget,
we
right?
worship Mother Nature.
That's right. That's right.
Amen.
That's right. That's right. So um but after we get done hearing the gospel of mushroom and hemp, we are going to reveal some really exciting news about what's happening in March on the Wholesome Dog. And I'm just going to give you a little hint. You're not going to want to miss it. And it's completely free and it's going to blow your mind. And we're excited to have Angela Ardolino caliber guests join us also in March. So stay tuned. It'll be worth it. Um, let's get started. It looks like the room is filling up. We are so excited. So I am going to bring my friend Angela up. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Angela, and then we are going to let her do her thing. We are recording tonight's session. If for some reason you have to drop out early, because let's face it, you know what happens. Dogs have to go out, kids, whatever. We are recording this. We're going to put it on our YouTube channel. It'll be available within the next 48 hours. And we're going to send you a follow-up email with a link where you can find it, as well as, P.S., we got a little something extra for you. We got a link, or excuse me, we got a code, discount code, if you want to try some of Angela's amazing stuff. So that'll all be in the follow-up email, but please feel free to forward it to your friends and family and people who you wish would be smarter about dog and cat stuff, because we all know that there's lots of those out there. So uh, with that, let me tell you about my friend Angela. She's kind of a big deal, in case you missed it.
Aw.
And she is a certified holistic pet health coach, a cannabis and fungi, not just fungis, but fungi expert, and an animal lover who's been caring for pets for over 20 years. Amongst her many roles and responsibilities, she owns and operates two locations of Beautify the Beast, natural pet salon and shop, as well as Fireflake Farm Animal Rescue. She has dedicated herself to educating and empowering pet parents to heal and support their pets or their parents, both, using whole plant and mushroom medicine. She's an advocate of the power of whole plant medicine, and back in my former neck of the woods, attended the University of Vermont's inaugural class in medical cannabis for therapeutic use. She went on to use her expertise to create CBD Dog Health, which offers all natural, full spectrum, very important, and we'll learn about that in a minute, hemp products for pets suffering from various conditions. Inspired by one of her own dog's experience with cancer, Angela launched Myco Dog, Mycos for mushrooms, by the way, as we'll learn about too, a line of sustainable mushroom extract and adaptogen tinctures for dogs. She's also a vocal advocate for safe and natural hemp and cannabis use for both humans and animals. And she shares her knowledge through many channels, but one that you've probably been familiar with is Your Natural Dog. Um, Wendy and I had the absolute pleasure of hearing her speak last year at the Feed Real Summit in San Diego, California. And Angela, are you going to be there again this year?
I am.
All right. So if you need an excuse to go to San Diego in October, highly recommend it. We're going to be talking with her, and just to kind of help you understand who Wendy and I are, we're not nearly as cool or have as many exciting things to our name as Angela, but we are certified professional canine nutritionists alongside being crazy dog moms. So we know a thing or two, and both through our own professional and personal lives have learned a lot on our own before meeting Angela about hemp, mushrooms, the power of plant medicine. And so we could not be more excited to welcome her. So with that, Angela, thank you so much. Welcome.
You bet. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you, those of you that always join everything I do. Lisa, thank you. Aaron, so nice to have you here. It's really nice to see so many of you here again today. Thanks.
And it looks like we actually have some of our friends from not only across the pond, but from the land of Oz here, which is super exciting. So shout out to our friend Lisa. And for those of you who are new to the Wholesome Dog, I'll also just say that like this tonight's session is a part of our Canine Cancer Awareness Series that we're doing all month long. We've talked with holistic and integrative oncologists. We've talked with folks who have really cool cancer detection tests. But tonight we want to talk about nature's medicine. So, Angela, let's start at the beginning. How did you get? I mean, you've lived a very full life, and then you got into this. So, how did you get from your other life to hemp and mushrooms?
I always led a pretty very natural lifestyle. I had already learned about taking toxins out of my food and home. So in 2015, when I wasn't feeling so well and my eye started to turn red for no reason, I went to the eye doctor, and after that, a couple doctors found out I had rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh, another thing we
So
shared.
yeah,
Okay.
so that sucked. Um, because, and when you learn about autoimmune diseases, is, most of the time it's something we've done to ourselves, which I guess most diseases are, but stress and anxiety is literally was probably what prompted this, along with not eating so well. Thought I was eating good, but needed to learn so much more. But the only thing that was given to me as a choice for my joint pain, for my eye, matter of fact, they gave me liquid steroid drops for my eyes. I didn't know they were steroids. I just was told to put them in my eye and ended up giving me a cataract. So go
Oh,
steroids. Um, and nobody ever warned me that. Matter of fact, went to the same doctor to get the cataract fixed. And when I told them, hey, somebody said, you're so young. How did you get a cataract? I'm like, what a great question. The drops that you gave me the cataracts. And my doctor literally said, wow, this is a really good plan. We give you cataracts, you come back, you have to get the cataract operation. I'm like, that's not funny. That wasn't funny. So I was only offered for my rheumatoid arthritis Humira,
oh,
which is basically offered to all autoimmune diseases and has already been linked to lymphoma. And I wasn't interested in that. So I started to turn to Mother Nature to see what I could take that would help me. I got introduced to cannabis. I was given a tincture. I remember taking that tincture, and literally within 15 minutes, pain gone, stress and anxiety levels. I was like, this is beautiful. I don't understand why this has such a stigma or what's wrong with it. This is literally medicine. And at the time, I had a magazine where basically I talked about natural living for families, pets, everybody. And I wanted to go find other people out there who were using cannabis as medicine. And the magazine was kind of a family magazine. So the people I found were moms. I found a group of moms using cannabis for medicine for their kids. And that's what really changed my mind. I became very good friends with a couple of them. One of them, my dear friend's son, has this terrible disease called Dravet syndrome, where they have horrible seizures. And I'll never forget the first time being with them and him going into a seizure, and she calmly reaches into her purse and takes out a tincture, the same tincture I took, takes it up in the dropper, puts it in his mouth, and within 26 seconds, he stops having a seizure, sits back up, and is having a conversation with me. And
Wow.
I just am like, this is incredible. You can't deny that that didn't just do that.
Yeah.
So I became very, very, I lived in Florida at the time. So I became an advocate because it was illegal medically in Florida. So I traveled the country, Canada, learned how to source seeds, grow it. Didn't know where I thought I was going to be a cultivator because I couldn't find people growing medicine. They were just out in the field and didn't know what they were doing. And because I was such a big advocate, I got invited to the inaugural class at the University of Vermont School of Medicine, where they had the first program for medical cannabis that study for its therapeutic uses in biology. And when I was there, that's where I learned about the endocannabinoid system, how the medicine works, and that animals have the same system. And as you said, I already had a rescue and groom shops, and animals were already my passion and my love. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help and heal animals with cannabis adaptogenic medicine. Didn't know I was going to create it. I immediately, continued going to my cannabis events. And if I was looking for a pet product and found one, it was usually a human company that just changed the label and put a paw print on it. And the problem with that is that dogs, we already have research that shows that they're much more sensitive. They have a lot more receptors than we do. So they're much more sensitive to the medicine, which is actually beautiful for them because it's very effective you don't have to give them very much for a lot to happen. Humans, we need more. So not only did they have, potent, it was too potent, they'd also have flavoring or xylitol in them.
Flavor.
So I literally would be at cannabis events as the crazy pet lady or the animal lady screaming at people going, get this off your table. This could kill a dog, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I couldn't find products. I couldn't find anything. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to make products. So I found an unbelievable chemist who I worked with who used to manufacture Aveda's products.
Wow.
So his daughter was actually a holistic veterinarian. So the three of us got together and we compared notes and our favorites and what we use and what's synergistic and created my formulas. So
Amazing.
that was in 2016. 2018 is when the Farm Bill, happened. So for 2 years, I literally used the medicine at my rescue. All I would do was rescue sick, old, geriatric animals with multiple problems, even the dogs that over-vaccinated, fed the worst kibble diet in the world. And I literally was able to bring every single dog that came through my rescue, change their diet, fix their diet, give them cannabis, give them mushrooms, and literally bring them back to homeostasis, which is literally the job of the endocannabinoid system, is
Absolutely.
to keep us at homeostasis. So here I took what I learned and started to apply it. And I got this from my holistic veterinarians. I go to the conference and say, do you guys want me to go do research? Because there's research that shows everything already. And they're like, no, we want to know how you're using it. How much do you use? What does it help? And so that's what I did, along with teaching as many veterinarians, doctors too. That's what's so funny about this world we live in is, I can't go speak at a vet conference, but I'm the one that teaches veterinarians about cannabis medicine. Because they're not taught about it in school. They're not even taught about the endocannabinoid system or diet and nutrition, as you well know.
Yeah.
So it's funny, to be in this position. And I never thought in a million years I'd be teaching doctors. But you have to understand, when a state becomes legal, when my state finally became legal, nobody knew how to use the medicine. So I literally held workshops and conferences teaching doctors and veterinarians and practitioners and massage therapists how to use cannabis medicine. So that's what I've been doing since
I love.
2016.
So, I'll just share a little bit, um, because to me, it helped open my mind and my heart to this. But, when I was quite young, I was diagnosed with a pretty severe case of Crohn's disease, which a lot of people have in this country, and a lot of dogs have ulcerative colitis. And and people don't understand. I know you do, but a lot of people don't understand that despite the obvious differences of
Yeah.
four legs and a tail, we are very similar in a lot of ways to our dogs, right?
Oh
More so
yeah.
to dogs than to our cats, but definite, definite similarities there as well. And because I'm a child of the 80s and I grew up with Nancy Reagan telling me to just say no, right?
Okay.
We can get into that later, that whole disaster.
I
You
not
know,
to interrupt you. My mother worked for the organization
get
that
out,
started the Red Ribbon Just Say No to Drugs
get out.
campaign. So I literally didn't touch it. I mean,
Yeah,
nothing.
right.
And as a matter of fact, that organization, when they found out what I was doing, because I was their youngest teacher that they ever had, because I would teach parenting classes, if you can believe this, when I was 18.
Oh my God.
and, and anyway, so on my Wikipedia and resume, it listed informed families, and they were very proud of it until I got into the cannabis business. And they literally contacted every single one of my magazine's advertisers and told them that I was pushing drugs. They got my Wikipedia page taken down. You guys don't even understand what I've gone through just to make an all
Oh,
natural medicine for pets. Like, it is, I have been threatened. I have been,
it's amazing.
shut down. I've been kicked out of organizations, all because I'm telling the truth and telling you how
Yeah.
an all natural plant and mushrooms can help you and cure you of just about anything.
Well,
Sorry, go
no, no.
for it,
I mean,
Nancy.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, and I get that. And I'll tell you, because I was taught to listen to my doctors and do what they say, and doctors know best. And a lot of people forget that doctors are still practicing medicine, right? It's still very much, it's not an exact science. As is common in dogs, that, we put our people and our dogs and our cats on steroids. And I had a lot of side effects, a lot of really terrible side effects. Thankfully, not cataracts yet, but at this point, it might be, it might be down the road. And it was awful. And it wasn't until I got desperate enough and somebody at college was like, just, try some of this, take a hit, and I was like, oh, Nancy Reagan's gonna come busting through the front door. And I gotta tell you, for the first time in years, I was not in pain, but I also wasn't out of my mind, right? And that was my first foray. And, you know, I, I adore vets because I could not give my life to doing everything that our vets do for our pets, right? I don't want to know how to do surgery. I don't want to know how to, pull gross things out of wherever. Um, but our vets don't know it all, and most of them don't have the time, right, to know it all. And I think that's why it's so important, and Wendy and I believe this to our core, that we pet parents must educate ourselves. And I will tell you, as a canine nutritionist, finding the overlap between the plant medicine that helps me and the medicine that helps my parents, and folks at home, one of the reasons we wanted to have Angela on is not only are Wendy and I using these products on our dogs. I took some of Angela's Calm about an hour before we got on here because I struggle with anxiety. Um, my dad, who was exposed to Agent Orange in Vietnam, who has had multiple cancerous spots removed from his skin, he's using the Remedy salve. Both my dogs and I, we have Mom and Ruthie's bottles of the Myco dog tinctures. Um, and I love them because they're human grade, but I know them. I know the efficacy that you put all of your products through, that they are the very best they could be. They are the very healthiest they can be. And it is hard to find companies and people and products that you can trust. And Wendy and I talk all the time. Our dogs will starve before we won't give our dogs something they need, right? So the fact that you've created these products that are good for us, good for our pets, You know, I tell people, somebody was like, I was in the checkout line the other day and she's like, I don't know where this spot came from. I was like, you need some mushrooms. And she's like, she looked at me and I was like, no, I'm not pushing anything here. I just like, you know, but I've become that lady right now in the checkout line. I'm giving unsolicited health advice. Um, so I just want to say that as a patient and a dog mom, you know, I have seen the huge difference. And so I thank you, and I know Wendy thanks you. And that's a big part of the reason we wanted to have you on. So, all right, I'm gonna get off my soapbox here. We've got a couple questions that I'm gonna throw to you. Um, Haley asks, is it appropriate to give CBD and mushrooms daily long term to help decrease the risk for mast cell and other cancers?
Absolutely, Haley. Great question. Absolutely. So one of the biggest lessons I learned from Nina, my osteosarcoma dog, was, if I was able to do what most veterinarians and oncologists weren't able to do, which is I got her to 20, I got a geriatric Doberman to 26 months past her diagnosis
It's amazing.
without radiation, without chemotherapy, without amputating her leg. I amputated her leg at 22 months, I believe. I'm terrible. I never want to remember these things, and now I have to. But what was so interesting is that after I was able to prove and show the power of diet, cannabis, and mushrooms, because diet is just as important. Diet is, we don't want to do all this work and kill the cancer and get it out of their body and at the same time feed it. So we need to not feed the cancer. So diet is very important. But once I was able to do all of this with just diet, cannabis, and mushrooms, I have a board of advisors for CBD dog health, which are integrative, holistic veterinarians and practitioners, experts in their field. And I said to them, I go, if we know 1 in 8 large breed dogs is going to get osteosarcoma, not even cancer, because cancer, age of 10, 1 in 2 dogs is going to die, is going to get it and pass from it. This is just large breed dogs. And this is one cancer. And if we know that this many, 1 in 8 of large breed dogs are going to get this specific cancer, can't we start giving these dogs these medicines earlier? I'm like in a year old. They all wrote back and said 8 weeks. So that is how, someone who is experienced, and a lot of these people on my board of advisors are holistic veterinarians of 20, 30, 40 years, some of them. So they've seen everything, watched everything. So if they are able to say something like that, that means they've never seen anything do this before, and
Sure.
and they believe in the medicine. The problem is thank you, all of you give me encouragement to continue to do what I do, because I know my mushroom products are more expensive. I know my hemp products are more expensive, but let me tell you a little story. I'm developing a new mushroom product right now because of, again, can't find anything on the market. And I just, I've gone through this incredible practitioner course where I've just learned so much more about how mushrooms. Did you know that mushrooms share 30% of our DNA? They're not plants.
Wait, 30%?
Exactly. 30% of our DNA.
What?
We are literally supposed to be consuming them every day. So are our dogs. 30%. They do so much for our gut. It's unbelievable. They are an incredible functional food for our guts.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they're also incredible functional medicines, which are the extracts, which are in the bottle. But here's a little story I want to tell you. I'm developing this new product, and I can't take any more mushrooms from my farmers that are doing my extracts, because I want you guys to understand they're literally grown on the real logs in the woods and are literally chopped by a human person. So all of that costs a lot more money. So I have to find another supplier or another person that works with another farmer co-op that does it the way I want. Because if that mushroom does not grow on the substrate that it is found in nature, meaning the tree, the bug, the decaying matter, it does not have the nutrients, the minerals, or the medicinal compounds. And most stuff out there is all grown on something other than what's found in nature. So it's not the same. So right now I have like 10 quotes in my email box, and I can get a lion's mane for $12 a pound, or I can get a lion's mane for $80 a pound. What do you think the difference is?
The substrate.
What it's grown on.
Yeah.
So you saw me at Feed Real where I said, would you rather have your mushroom growing on a grain, or this is the new thing, sawdust. I'm like, oh, sawdust. Why sawdust? Just like pet food is a lot of the leftovers that from the human food.
Yeah.
Same thing. Lumber byproduct. What are we going to do with it? We can grow mushrooms on it. Now, that's not the case for everybody. I just found out that a very trusted Real Mushrooms grows on sawdust. And I'm going to assume that because it's Real Mushrooms, that it is the sawdust of the hardwood that it would be found on. I am hoping. I am completely alarmed that they're using sawdust or anything at all. Yeah. But you have to understand that something becomes popular. And so what companies and people do is, how do I mass produce it? Of course, how do I keep the quality up? But how do I, and when it comes to a Real Mushrooms, how do I keep the quality up and mass produce it at the same time, which I don't think is possible. No. But anyway, that's the struggle. So am I going to make a product with lion's mane, which this is why my products are more expensive, is because they're grown the right way. It's the same thing as a cow who is fed grass and finished with grass and has an incredible nutrient profile and is actual food that is going to feed you and nourish you or your pet. Yeah. And one that is raised on a factory farm and fed grain and doesn't have that nutrient profile, and it's non-food almost, in my opinion, meaning it's going to probably do you more harm. Yeah. So those are the types of things I deal with every single day. So to see all of you here and for you to say that, it really encourages me to continue to buy $80 per pound lion's mane mushrooms.
Well, can I just say, before I had that epiphany, and the epiphany was caused by you educating us, right? At the Feed Reel, and for those of you who weren't there, Angela came up to me and she's like, I don't know who you are, but I loved watching your face just explode when I was telling you about the difference between my mushrooms and other mushrooms. So you're welcome for that, because I was on mushroom products, right? Not yours. And then you explained the difference in the substrate and how that feeds the nutrients that make up the mushrooms. And I was like, oh my God, what have I been putting in my body? It's that moment you're like, oh God. And, I got to tell you, Angela, your products compared to the other guy, and we'll just leave it at that, wasn't a huge price point difference.
Oh, good.
So for whatever it's worth from this girl. But no, I mean, listen, it's just like the difference between feeding your dog or yourself super processed food. Like, I'll admit it. I like the taste of boxed mac and cheese. It is total crap. It's terrible for you. Like, that alone could likely cause cancer, right? But if I ate that every day for 2 meals a day, I would look like a box of mac and cheese, right? And my insides would be on their way out. And so, I hate when people are forced to make the decision between quality or, like, what am I going to put in my mouth versus the quality of what I want. But it is absolutely true that you get what you pay for, which is why I'm so excited that you've been kind enough that we're able to give folks a discount code today that they can use to try the products, because it's totally worth it. So thank you. And I'm sorry, I've got to catch up. We've got more questions. So
did I even answer Haley's question? I don't even think I did.
You did. Haley had a follow-up question. I think I can answer it for you. You tell me if I'm wrong. And we're going to ask the wonderful Amy from your team to drop in some links because into the chat. So Haley asks, where's the best place to start learning about fungi and mushrooms for dog? Major beginner here. So I have a feeling that awesome Amy is going to drop in some links. We're going to send everybody to your website because it is just a treasure trove of information and resources. Your podcasts, your articles, your blogs. So that's awesome. And then Lisa, I believe we've had multiple Lisas. Lisa, I can't remember if you're the Lisa from Australia or not. I think you are. But Lisa asked, what is the difference between marijuana and cannabis and medical CBD?
Great question. So cannabis is the plant. That's the genus. That's the main plant. Marijuana and hemp are both cannabis. So if that cannabis plant has, so the main two cannabinoids, the major cannabinoids are THC and CBD. If that cannabis plant has more THC, it therefore has less CBD and is considered marijuana. If that plant has more CBD, it therefore has less THC in it and is considered hemp. Both of these definitions and names are completely wrong, but the United States government decided to name it that, and so that's what we're forced to live in, which is all that does is cause so much more confusion, and people don't understand the difference because there it isn't. It's all the cannabis plant, and it just is a makeup of different cannabinoids, terpenes, flavonoids, all these amazing compounds that exist in the plant. And some you want more THC for certain things, and you want more CBD, or you want more CBG, and they're all just different strains of the plant. What is legal in all 50 states is hemp, which is considered to have less than 0.03% THC in it, which is just enough THC to make it a full spectrum synergistic product, which is great, and we can make medicine out of it. But for humans, or what you get at a dispensary, if you're in a legal, medical, or recreational, of course they can have 90% THC, unfortunately. And when
Right.
you're getting into things that are, you see 90% THC, you're dealing with a non-medical, probably isolate, because if it's 90% THC or CBD, that means the other 114 cannabinoids aren't in there, and the other hundreds of terpenes and flavonoids and fatty acids and proteins and all the other good stuff that has to be in there to work aren't in there. So that's what a full spectrum product is. Full spectrum product is going to have that little bit of THC in it, and then it's going to have a bunch of those other cannabinoids, including CBD, which will be what is the most in there. But what I want people to understand is that a broad spectrum product, which is they take the THC out, that is an over processed product, and they literally made the medicine useless. The two major CB1 and CB2 receptors are the main receptors in the endocannabinoid system. CBD doesn't even bind to the receptors without the help of THC. So THC literally binds, and then CBD will bind. So the majority of the products on the market, if they're called broad spectrum, or now the new thing, full spectrum with no THC or any of that, you're wasting your money, and they're not true medicine. I'm not sure what they are or what they do, but stay away from them. And then of course isolates. So those, when you see 99% CBD, which makes it seem super pure and strong, and it's not. It's actually been linked, researched and linked to cause liver damage already. So you have to see how complicated it is to operate in my world. CBD by itself, dangerous. CBD in a full spectrum product heals everything, but nobody knows the definitions. Everybody's making, it's not regulated. So literally everybody does whatever the hell they want. It's, you're being, now we're being controlled by, or the marijuana industry is trying to control us, because now too many people are finding relief from hemp. So they want to control that. It is crazy. It is the most difficult thing that I've ever done.
Yeah.
To do the right thing and to get this information out to people is extremely difficult. It is I have to use a different credit card processor to on my sites. I'm not allowed to say CBD on Google or any of the Facebook now. What is it? We're allowed to say this and not that. It really is ridiculous how hard this country world works to
Yeah.
keep the natural stuff away from us. Mother Nature provides us with all the food and medicine that we need. It's there. We just have to find it. So it literally every time myself, a family member, a pet, something happens to them, I always go to nature first. Every pharmaceutical drug is based on something found in nature. Most antibiotics are based from a mushroom, come from a mushroom. So stop taking those pharmaceutical drugs and go to the pure source instead that doesn't have any of those synthetics in it that our bodies don't know what to do with.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, you are clearly taking several of our folks to church because I'm getting some amens in the chat. And
Yay!
so just when you thought it
My
wasn't,
shirt.
that's right. Oh, there we go. Mushrooms and cannabis. I love it. Love it. We'll save the world. Absolutely.
They
Absolutely.
literally will. They're
Yeah.
both bioaccumulators. They clean the earth, they clean the air. Mushrooms are packed full of so many vitamins and minerals that we can't even get from our fruits and vegetables anymore or from our soil. They literally, it's like the internet of nature. It literally is the most, if you haven't watched the Netflix documentary, Fantastic Fungi,
Yes.
please do.
Yes.
It's a beautiful movie. But yeah, it's called pharmacokinetics. How do we take that plant and make it into a pharmaceutical drug? And I'm sure those of you who follow me know, you've heard me say this a million times. You can't patent nature. You can't
No.
go out and take something that works in nature, patent it, and make $1 billion off of it. So instead, they just take one compound out. And then if you look and you read the research that these companies do, it's it's like they have to prove that it works, but they don't have to. It can work. You just have to prove that it works. But if it killed 10 dogs, it's okay. It works. I know we were talking before I came on about Apoquil,
Yes, please. Please.
and I wanted to bring up the,
Preach.
you know, bring up the insert that nobody gets. They don't get that. You get the pill. You don't get you don't get the box with that little insert. Not that we all read that because we trusted that the doctor gave it to us. So it's not gonna. Does that raise your hand? Those of you who can see, like 3 of you. If you remember the do no harm,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
that's literally a Hippocratic oath that doctors take.
Absolutely.
Meaning, if something's your tongue's blue and I've got this remedy that's going to make your tongue blue go away, but it's going to make your ear fall off. I shouldn't give that to you. That's literally what the oath is.
Yeah.
But that's not how we practice. Now it's standard of care. It's you got this, you get this, these services, these combination of drugs, and all kinds of horrible side effects. That are just they don't what do all those drugs do is wreck your gut microbiome. It literally takes away your body and your pet's body's ability to heal itself. And we all have that in us.
Amen. Like I said, I haven't gotten this many amens in a Zoom chat in a while. So yes, people are feeling it. All right, 2 questions. One, I might mispronounce, so bear with me, and apologies to Stephanie if excuse me if I get this wrong. What are your thoughts on Coriolus versicolor mushrooms? Do you know
Uh,
what that is?
nope, I don't know which mushrooms those are. Which
All
ones
right.
are?
So Stephanie, if you want to put a link, maybe we can figure that out.
Where is it written? I'll see if I can find it. I can't see them all, so I don't know
That's
what
okay. That's all right. We'll do it for you. We'll figure it out. And then I was right. The Lisa I thought was from Australia is from Lisa. Hi again, Lisa. She said, not sure what is available in Australia. Are you able to recommend any good suppliers for both CBD and fungi? Or are you able, even better, she's hoping, are you able to send your products to Australia? Thank you for the information that you are sharing. You're blowing my mind.
Oh, thanks. Well, I know we've got some good people in Australia, so what I'd rather do is teach you how to choose a product yourself. So that I don't remember the laws on CBD in Australia. I don't even keep up with that anymore. I got someone who does that for me. I know that we are getting on Amazon for that reason, so that people other places can get it. I have no idea where we are at on that.
Okay.
But what was the question? Oh, let me teach you how to choose a
Yes.
product.
Yes.
So the majority of the products are grown on a substrate. This is the other problem, is that there's not even a lab that I can find in the United States where I can send a mushroom product so that I can go, look, see, this doesn't have what it's supposed to be in it. We literally are working with labs right now and trying to teach them. They're testing psilocybin,
Yeah.
but they're not testing where I can show you all the medicinal compounds that exist in my tincture, because nobody's doing it. And guess what that means? Anybody can do whatever they want and get away with murder. So I can't say to you like I can for hemp, where I can say, we've got a QR code on our bottle, a batch number on the bottom of the bottle where you can look up and see exactly this small batch of product and what is in it, meaning you're going to want to see that little blip of THC proving that it's a full spectrum product, but it also shows you what's not in it, meaning no heavy metals, no pesticides, no herbicides, nothing that shouldn't be in there because it's a bioaccumulator is in this bottle. That's the only way that I would be confident to take something myself or give it to my dog. Now, I think we're the only people who are doing that, the QR code. So if you are in Australia and you don't, you need to ask them for the COA, or you should easily be able to find it on their website. If for some reason you can't and they don't know or they don't answer you, move on. That's a sign that they have no idea. The only way that I know what's in this bottle is by testing it. So companies do it anyway in-house. What we do and what everybody should do is send it to a third-party laboratory and they test it and give you the results.
Yeah.
When it comes to mushrooms, that doesn't exist. So you have to do some research and reading on your own. What you want to avoid is anything that says mycelium on it, which kind of doesn't make sense because mycelium is incredible and wonderful and has some incredible medicinal properties. But the problem with mycelium is what most companies do is they take a grain, a cheap grain, rice, oats, sometimes straw, sometimes sawdust, like I said.
Well, but also moldy stuff too, which is
Right.
like,
Right. And we don't want the mold. We
no.
just want the mushrooms.
Yeah.
And they inoculate that substrate. They put it in a pot with the spores of the mushroom. They put it in a plastic bag. They poke holes in it. And they put it in a dark, damp place so that the mushrooms can grow. The spores turn into mycelium, which basically spreads out like roots. Most of you know what it is. It looks like the white stuff that you see, like when you pull up mulch or dirt or whatever. Good stuff. But it's eaten all of that stuff. And then at a certain time, a little primordia, the little baby mushroom sticks its head out. That's when most companies take that entire substrate, take off the plastic, grind that up, and put it in a capsule or packet. That is what the majority of products are. Your
Ugh.
coffees, your actually Rise coffee,
Yeah.
mud water.
Yeah.
That's what mud water is. So skip it. Rise is actually just real mushrooms. So real mushrooms is Namix is the company that owns real mushrooms. It's their retail product, but Namix supplies everybody with their mushrooms. So Rise is a better choice because they, at least real mushrooms, extracts and grows them the right way, I think. I know they extracted the right way. But if you are doing a powder or a capsule, I want you guys to keep in mind that a moment you open up a powder, it's like a fish oil, it starts to oxidize and go bad. So be sure you store it somewhere safe, or go for the capsules, or screw it, go for a tincture instead. A tincture is never going to go bad because it's preserved the day, like the day it came out of that mushroom, in a vegetable glycerin, which keeps, so as long as you don't put it in heat and, you know, leave it open and clean off the dropper, if it goes into someone's mouth, it is going to be good to go. So when you're looking at mushroom products, you want to make sure the word mycelium isn't on there. You want to make sure the word substrate is on there. So if you'll look for things that, like we have on ours: no grain, no mycelium, no substrate,
Yeah.
wild crafted. That means it's been growing out where it's supposed to. Here's another important fact about mushrooms. Mushrooms are one of the most incredible sources of vitamin D. D2, D3, but only if they're exposed to sunshine.
So
So
nothing.
that dark, damp basement that they're growing in, so those are the things that I know. A chaga mushroom, if it is not growing on a birch tree, it does not have betulinic acid in it, which is the main compound that makes it so powerful and medicinal. So you're literally, what are you getting? Some
Well,
sort of food lacking in nutrients?
yeah. And I'm not trying to top you here, but I'm just gonna pipe in as a nutritionist and say most dogs are completely deficient in vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's one of the leading causes of immune illnesses, of gut illnesses. Like if you try to set your dog up for cancer, make sure they're very deficient in vitamin D. So I love this. You're actually, kind of killing multiple birds with one stone here.
Exactly. It's really what's meant to be. We shouldn't be having to take all these different pills and things. It's all nature provides us with everything we need. And what's amazing is that in mushrooms, it literally gives us all the nutrients we need,
Yeah.
along with these incredible medicinal properties that are anti-inflammatory, antifungal, antibacterial. It's like, that's why I love when, you know, friends now get colds. I don't feel good. Can I take your breathe? Sure. And it's like knocked out the next day, and they're amazed by it. Don't
Yeah.
be amazed. That's what's supposed to happen. That
That's
is the way it's supposed to happen.
absolutely. Um, all right, I gotta ask because this is literally the title of the talk, so we have to make sure we touch on it. But how does the combination of hemp, whether it's CBD, THC, whatever, how does a combination of hemp and mushrooms, fungi, work to kill cancer?
Great question. So, and this is what I presented at Feed Real. This year, I'm going to be talking all about synthetics and
Oh,
how, if we feed this innate system in our body that heals herself, if we feed it what it needs, it can do everything we need. But when we replace it with a synthetic, I don't think people understand how dangerous and awful these synthetics are, especially for our dogs. Our
yeah.
dogs, we all know when they get old, they get these lumps and bumps. That's literally where the synthetics are being put.
Oh,
Imagine a synthetic going into your dog's body. The body doesn't recognize it. So that receptor where it goes, ooh, hi CBD, hi THC, synthetic, it goes, what are you? So it just goes around in our body, and then guess what? Your liver has to deal with it. So your liver is sitting there trying to figure out what to do with this foreign chemical. It literally doesn't know what to do with it. And in our dogs, it literally goes and stores it in their fatty tissue. And that's the beginning of your lump or bump, which then later turns into cancer. And that's what I don't think people understand. And not only does it do that, but you are also taking the liver away from what it's supposed to be doing, which is detoxifying and healing you. So instead of doing that when your pet is sleeping at night and it's supposed to be doing that, instead it's working with these damn synthetics. And it's the synthetic drug that he took, and the synthetic vitamins and minerals in his damn food, and the synthetic chemicals in the carpet cleaner, and the synthetic pesticides in the yard, bombarded. And this is why our dogs are dying at the rate they are of cancer. What's awesome is how cancer operates is through 12 signaling pathways. Cannabis has been proven to interact with 8 of those signaling pathways. You add mushrooms and these other adaptogenic herbs, and you are literally dealing with all 12 of those pathways. And you don't feed the cancer, meaning great ketogenic, cooling, hopefully protein diet.
Yep.
And you literally can extend life and get rid of cancer. So I'm on so I don't know if you know this, I don't have my farm. I sold my shops. Someone took over my farm. I sold my house. I sold everything in Florida and fled and got an Airstream, and I'm in California now. Just so you know, that update of my life.
Living the dream.
Living the dream. And I love being in California because literally I am with my people. I don't have to explain cannabis. It's been legal here for over 30 years medically. So a lot more people I don't have to like convince. It's more like, I remember being in my first talk and I don't remember what I asked. Who here has used cannabis? And everybody raised their hand. And I was like, all right, I don't have to like convince you guys that it's not scary and toxic and it's going to kill you.
Yeah.
But what did you ask me?
So no, just like how the combination, you answered it. How the
Combination. So yes, so let me tell you about these pathways. So everything from you got to understand how cancer works. We all have cancer cells inside us. And the objective of our immune system, or adaptogens, which the definition of adaptogens are plants and fungi, that when we take them, they literally get inside our body and adapt to our stressors and what's going on, and literally turn our cells into natural killer cells and go through our body and find cells that are already in progression turning into a cancer cell, kill them, get rid of them. When cancer cells when we don't have that going on and cancer cells do get together, form a tumor, they shoot out a blood vessel to a vein to feed themselves. The action of THC literally comes, it's called angiogenesis, cuts that feeding off to starve the cancer. After it kills apoptosis, it literally kills cancer cells is what it's called. And it even removes, it's called autophagy, literally removes the old dead cancer cells out of your body. So all of these actions, all of these pathways, the 8 pathways that cannabis interacts in, not only does it downgrade an action, sometimes it'll upgrade an action, or it'll block something to not allow that cancer to metastasize and spread throughout the body. And that's what ends up killing you, is osteosarcoma. Started in Nina's wrist, and what kills and why they're gone in 4 months is because that cancer gets into the bloodstream, spreads throughout the whole body and lungs, and they're dead. Nina, when I finally had to get her leg amputated because it was on her wrist, it started to block blood flow to her foot. I could tell she was uncomfortable. Before that, she was running around like a maniac, like nothing was wrong. She wasn't in pain. And this is a bone cancer. It is supposedly the most painful pain you can feel. Now, I did give Nina 10 milligrams of extra THC at night because of the pain I knew that it was aggressive cancer and a painful cancer. So I did give her extra, but during the day she was on the horsies and I'd only give it to her at night. At 21 months, the vet that I took her to get the amputation did 8 diagnostic tests to show where and what the cancer was doing, and it didn't show up on any of those tests. I literally took the test, sent them to my board of advisors, and scratched out the name and said, hey, you guys, what do you think's wrong with this dog? And they all went, she's a little low in vitamin D, magnesium, literally nothing else. I said, this is Nina's. These are all Nina's diagnostics. Blown away. Couldn't on the lungs. Not even like I don't know if you guys ever been through it. Oh, we see this speck. We're going to need to look at that. Not even a speck that needed a second look. And at 21 months having osteosarcoma. So all of this that I learned about and then turned around and applied it to my own animals on my rescue farm and watched it do exactly what I learned. you can't tell me anything different. You can't.
No, and listen, we heard you speak in October. It's now the end of February. I have been taking the heel for some allergies. I've been taking these, okay? I give my dog the heel just because she's prone to some dryness and some itching. Um, I've been giving the remedy salve to my dad for his melanoma.
Precancerous cells. Yep.
I got my
Dr.
mom.
Judy Morgan's husband does the same thing on his head. Hugh,
Yep,
remedy on his head every day.
yep. I've got my mom who's got rheumatoid arthritis. She was like happy to jump to taking a biologic, which I was like, let's talk about this, please. And she's like, well, I don't know, CBD, I don't want to get high. And I'm like, oh God, so much education. But she's taking the ease, right? I already talked about how, I will occasionally use the ease with my anxiety. In terms of mushrooms, I myself alternate between the breathe and the vitality. My dog gets the vitality. My dog is a cavalier, so she's prone to heart disease. So of course I want to give her the reishi, the chaga, all those good mushrooms. I, as a nutritionist, especially if I see a breed like a golden, like a boxer, like a Bernese that is prone to either hemangiosarcoma, osteosarcoma, mast cell tumor, bladder cancer for the Scotties in the room, whatever, I will say, oh, your dog's adorable. Have you given them mushrooms? And, they're like, well, what are you trying to push? And I'm like, no, 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 listen, I believe every animal, human, dog, cat, mouse, whatever. I don't know about that much about mice, but I believe we all need to be on mushrooms. When you watch that documentary, when you read the evidence, and we got some clarification. Believe it or not, the Coriolis versicolor is the
Oh, turkey tail.
fancy name, as somebody said, for the turkey tail. Angela, can you just like very quickly, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but can you talk about the powerhouse that is turkey tail mushroom
Yes.
and how it
But I
pertains
also
to,
want you guys to know that don't ever take a mushroom by itself. Combine it with other mushrooms.
yes.
They're very synergistic, and it's already been proven in research. I think I showed the research at Feed Real that when you put more than one together, they become much more powerful and synergistic. It's literally like you're giving your body this little army where they can divide up and spread out and do everything. So turkey tail is an unbelievable mushroom. It's one of my favorites that's in all of my tinctures. And why it's so amazing is because of all the research out there for what it does for cancer. But in Japan, they're literally using compounds from turkey tail as anti-cancer drugs. So that's why it is so popular and we all know about it. But others like reishi, cordyceps, lion's mane, artist conch are all extremely beneficial also. So the
Absolutely.
ones that I have in my tinctures are the ones that I could source in wildcraft here in the United States. There are some others that I loved, but I can't find them here. So I can't find anybody growing them the right way, I should say. But they are beautiful. And turkey tail, if you ever go out in the woods, you're probably going to find it. It's everywhere. Grows on hardwood trees, so you'll be able to find it if you go out into the woods. It's really fun to find it everywhere. But yeah, turkey tail. I want to talk about clarity, which is our
Yeah, sure. It's
nootropic.
like I didn't mention. Yeah.
Um, this actually, I'm doing my very first piece of research. I'm going to pay to have research done
Awesome.
because the reason I created Clarity is because of my old dogs at my rescue. I'd literally kill their cancer and lose them to dementia.
Mm.
And I didn't know how you died of dementia, but or Alzheimer's, or in dogs it's called CCD, but you literally forget how to eat and drink. So that really bugged me. And so I went out again to go find in nature, what could I find? So Bacopa monnieri, astragalus root, lion's mane are all, they are all work on our brain. They're called nootropics. They literally regenerate neurons. Do you know what telomeres are? Telomeres are these like thread like that as they deteriorate or get smaller is what causes aging. they regrow telomeres. So this
Wow.
is like unbelievable stuff. So I love it. I can share the research that's already out there and everything. But then I don't know if you guys saw recently, there is a drug that's coming out on the market for dogs with dementia. And that's when I was like, all right, I got to beat them to it. I'm going to do my piece of research first so that I can go look, so that I could claim the same claims that they can claim. So otherwise, like right now, I couldn't like claim that mushrooms, what is it? I can't remember the research they did. Mushrooms stop seizures, I believe, because another company did that.
Mhm.
And even if I share their research, I get a cease and desist. So you literally, you're like everywhere you turn, you're not allowed to share what these amazing, even though it's there, you can Google it. I challenge anybody to
Yeah.
anything that you're suffering from or your pet is suffering from, literally type it in and say, whatever it is, Cushing's disease,
Yeah.
cannabis research,
Yeah.
fungi research, and it'll come up and you'll read it and it'll be there. It's literally everywhere. So I want everyone to be more like you guys, where you found it, learned it, tried it, and then spread the gospel, because it is literally being kept from you
I
everywhere you
I
turn.
drank the mushroom and hemp Kool-Aid a while ago, and I have no intention on stopping. Um,
I just don't want anybody, I don't want people to go out like happened when I first got into CBD and they were like, yeah, I tried it, didn't do anything for me. Well, yeah, most products aren't, unfortunately, because it's on both industries, mushroom and hemp are completely unregulated,
yeah.
and people can put anything in a bottle and call it anything they want.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because Naja just asked a really important question, and
Naja's here.
yes, and one that I actually have a little bit of experience with. So, Naja asked, she said, I've been using Super Snout's Super Shroom Powder and Lazarus Naturals Full Spectrum CBD for a while. Is there anything about Super Snout's mushroom products I should be worried about? Can I take
Yes.
this? Okay.
Yep.
Naja, hello. My name's Julie Lynn. I did the same thing you did. And I live to tell about it. So, because I was educated by Angela. So here's the deal. Super Snouts looks like a great product, and the people who work there are lovely people, hands down. However, what I learned thanks to Angela is that Super Snouts grows their mushroom on a rice substrate. So essentially, what the mushrooms are eating is starch. Um, our dogs do not have a carbohydrate requirement. So when we're trying to supplement their diet with a fungi, right? A vegetable, a fruit, technically a fruit, and the fruit is eating starch, the starch is going to pass through and
Remember,
whatever.
fungi is not a fruit.
It's not a fruit, but they call it a fruiting body.
True. Not a fruit, not a vegetable. Makes no sense. Closer to humans than animals and plants.
We share
I'm sorry,
30% of our
closer
DNA.
to animals than to plants.
Okay,
Just want
so
to blow your mind a little bit on that, because
yeah, you
that
did.
I
Thank
can't
you.
get
I'm like,
over.
okay. All right, now that I'm regrouping. So essentially I've stopped using the super snouts because of that substrate. Angela's mushrooms and wild harvested mushrooms grow on nature, like tree bark or the forest floor, like literally where they have been growing for thousands of years, and that's where they get all of these amazing nutrients and properties that are so healing. So the expression like you are what you eat, that is the same is true of our mushrooms. So donate that super shrooms to somebody else
No, just throw it away.
or just throw it away. I was trying to be nice. And, and get yourself, we just dropped the code. The code for 10% off your first purchase is wholesome, wholesome dog 10. It'll get you 10% off your first order. And I would do the vitality. I mean, listen, they're all great. But going up to an earlier question that Haley had, Haley was asking if you can layer your multiple products. So can you use the heal with the ease? And the answer is yes. Because of those magical adaptogens that Angela talks about, they all work together. They all work in tandem. And the other thing I'll say is that whether it's you or your dog or your 70-something-year-old parents, as in my case, use them every day because the way the endocannabinoid system, and Angela can do a much better job of explaining this than I am, but I'm going to try and make her proud. Um, it builds up, right? Those receptors, they build up over time. So especially for pain or for allergies or whatever, the more you keep that like constant level in the system, the better the body will be. And I have known that to be true. I went on vacation and left my mushroom tincture at home, and I was like, damn it, like 4 days later, I was like, it's back. Same is true for my dog and her itchiness. Like if I just give her her little dose, somebody's like, are you dosing your dog? I'm like, damn right I am. And it's great for her. It helps. It makes a huge difference. So
They actually have already put out a piece of research showing lion's mane, what it does for the brain. And if you stop taking it for 2 weeks, your brain goes back to the way it was. So you literally, that's why, again, these are not only should you be taking the medicinal tinctures on a regular basis, but we should also be eating them because
yes,
they feed the gut microbiome like nothing else. It is an all natural prebiotic. It is the most incredible, like some of the things I'm learning now. I love learning and then testing it out on myself.
yeah,
And then I'll test it out on my animals
yep,
and always get the same, thing. But
yep.
this is something I just did with myself that I thought I'd share with everybody. Of course, I'm not supposed to have gluten and dairy and eat ice cream or sugar.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And alcohol is going to kick my ass if I drink that always. I think the only thing I can handle is a natural wine, which is almost impossible to find, or gin and tonic. Dr. Judy's favorite drink too.
Same,
Well, that's what we drank
same.
most of.
Yeah.
Well, I think I chose gin because it's all a bunch of herbs, fermented herbs that did this.
Unicorn. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I take, I want, I literally, if I'm going to have some beverages and eat the bad stuff, I literally now can prep my gut and I eat my mushrooms beforehand and I literally can do whatever I want. And the reason I did this is because what I just learned, literally a gut full or your colon full of mushrooms is going to, not only does it create that beautiful mucus layer to keep everything going well, it literally will take whatever it is, that toxin of the sugar or the alcohol or where the prescription med or whatever they came across, literally take it out of the body and remove it. So I've applied this and it
Yeah.
is true. I literally don't have a hangover. I don't feel like shit or whatever. I'm sure if I did this on a regular basis, it would catch up or get through or whatever. But what a concept. Again, that's why
That's
I
amazing.
think they're going to save the world is our gut and us feeding our gut what they need. If we can feed the prebiotics to those microorganisms, they will take care of everything that we need. And also remember, this mushrooms are filled with microorganisms also that are all beneficial. So all of that is feeding that
Now,
gut.
I just want to give a slight like asterisk addendum
Yes.
to that, if I could. So when I make bone broth for my dog, I absolutely put mushrooms in the bone broth.
Yep.
Now, some dogs, if your dog is like my dog and she's apparently just like her mother, even though we're completely different species, because she too has a sensitive gut. And I find, and you'll have to remind me the name of the lining of the mushroom.
Titan.
The chitin. So some dogs can be sensitive to that chitin. And so in for some dogs, they really need that chitin kind of broken down, i.e. cooked or put
Absolutely.
in broth or something like that. So just like feeding your dog mushrooms, for some dogs with gut issues, it might not go over as well as you're hoping. Um, but putting them in broth, like simmering them in like a congee or something like that can be that's another way to kind of sneak those mushrooms. I also have to confess to you, Angela, I have never liked the taste of mushrooms. Like never. This is if there's one thing I could change about myself, it would like I want to love mushrooms. So I treat myself like a child in that I find ways to hide the mushrooms. it's just something about that, like very
So
much.
I would love to make a confession too. I
Yes,
don't like
please.
to eat them either.
Really? Oh, I feel so much better.
And just so that you know, the product that I'm working on is literally a meal topper that I can take myself.
Get
So
out.
I'm not kidding you, because I literally, if I could solve one of my problems and all my dog's
Yeah,
problems in a
yeah,
product that I can create, absolutely I'm going to make
yeah.
it. But it's literally going to be a spoonful of the mushrooms preserved in a broth with some other beneficial herbs for the
Like
gut
meaty mushrooms.
that I can eat it, get it done, move on. I
Whatever.
do.
I will test for you. Yes.
Thank you. I do love lion's mane and maitake. Like both of those can totally soak up any of the whatever you're cooking with. So those are my favorite. But yeah, I'm the same way. The sponginess, the sliminess makes ooh,
The
but
woody. Yeah, the
yeah.
woody. It's like, ugh.
So yeah, the cooking those literally will do it. But that was a very good point that you brought up because the only allergies, so I've got all these people taking all these damn tests now, hair tests,
Right, right. Yeah, yeah.
and most of them are coming back that they're allergic to mushrooms and hemp, and I want to pull my hair out. Which mushroom and which strain of hemp are you referring to? Because you can't just blanketly say that. The only allergen to mushrooms are when they are raw, and and it's mostly shiitake. And
Mhm.
all you need to do is make sure that you cook it for about 20 minutes. You can either chop them up and cook it, fry it on a pan with some olive oil or avocado oil, or you can put them in the oven and bake them a little bit. And that
Yeah.
will break down that chitin and get rid of those allergens.
Okay.
What's also interesting about chitin is chitin's also what's on the outside of a shrimp. So again, look at how mushrooms are like,
Yeah.
or crickets. Those of you that are seeing crickets as dog food now, same thing. Crickets have chitin. That's why they're so unbelievable for the gut.
Please don't. It makes me want to pull my hair out when I hear that. Um, okay, a few more questions. Our good friend Stephanie, who's going to be presenting next month, who was also at the Feed Real conference. Stephanie said, are there any specific mushrooms that are best for the gut?
Yes, they're all pretty amazing for the gut, but my favorites would be chaga, reishi, cordyceps, probably lion's mane. Really incredible for the gut. So is ashwagandha, astragalus root, rhodiola, also some really amazing herbs for the gut. We will be releasing Myco Digest in April.
Wait, what? Is this breaking news?
It's breaking news. I created it when I created these three, I just didn't release it at the same time because like I said, I have a myco alchemist who makes it all. And
Yeah.
then I have a co-op of farmers who are growing it. So everything takes a long time and is really it just takes a lot of time. So he is we're finally getting around to it because
That's awesome.
I'm thinking about having it.
Congratulations. How
Thanks. So Myco
exciting.
Digest will be out in April and it will have the combinations of the best mushrooms. And then yes, eventually I will make my food topper, which will be also the best mushrooms combined that you can just plop on top and eat or feed to your dogs.
I love this. I just want to say one more thing about lion's mane. Also from a personal level. So my dad and I'm sure they would not appreciate me, sharing all of their examples, but there we have it. I have my own test studies, case studies here in my, family. So my dad also suffers from cognitive loss. It's, who knows, it's probably because of the Agent Orange exposure and all the crap that, people of the 50s and 60s and 70s were exposed to. Um, Lion's mane that Angela's mentioned a couple times is this like spongy, kind of groovy looking mushroom. And it has, as she mentioned, has been shown to have a lot of really amazing properties for cognition and memory. And what's the word I'm looking for that I'm not grasping?
I don't know. Cognition
Okay,
is
well, cognition, it helps.
it's anti-aging, literally. It's
Anti-aging, yes.
an all-natural anti-ager.
Yes. And before I discovered Angela, I had my dad on the other guy's lion's mane supplement, and it was a capsule. And we know that those capsules were grown on mycelium and crappy, probably poison sawdust, who knows. And now he just like takes like a, little tincture shot every morning. And he's like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "This is a dog on it." And I was like, "Do you trust me?" And he goes, "Well, yeah." So I was telling Angela before we hopped on, when he went to go meet with his neurologist to have his, yearly check or whatever. He was like, "Oh, your things have not declined at all. Like, you what are you doing?" And he goes, "I don't know. My daughter has me on some dog shit." Uh, it's just like, okay, first of all, when you say that, it does not sound like what you mean it to sound like. But again, I can, personally show that my family is to this day benefiting from Angela's products, and there's only one dog in this family. So, um, if the whole Gibbons household takes it, it's good enough for, if it's good enough for us, it's good enough for you. So,
And if you do
amazing.
have a dog or a human that is experiencing any of that, it literally it doesn't reverse it completely. I don't want to make that claim, but my experience is I didn't the first dog that I got that had dementia, I didn't even know that's what she was going on.
Yeah,
She didn't make eye contact. She'd get, stand in a corner and bark, lost, whatever. And I literally watched this dog start playing, run to me, I pick her up, she'd start looking me directly in the eye and giving me kisses. I was bawling. I'm like, what? This is for me giving her all natural products. I'm watching her reverse and age. This happened repeatedly. It was one
yeah,
geriatric dog after another, one
yeah,
with cancer, one with tumor, one not can't walk, you name it.
yeah.
Seizures, constantly seizures. I stopped it all. And I'm not a veterinarian.
Right.
I
No,
just learned all about the master system in our body, the endocannabinoid system, which is in charge of all of our other systems. So this is, to me, the biggest reason why our doctors do fail at helping us is because they weren't taught about this system. What are
because
the three main what'd you say?
because nature is not profitable.
Right. The top three that reasons that people and animals die: cancer, heart disease, medical error.
Yeah.
Medical error, meaning don't know how to help you, give you the wrong drug, do the wrong treatment,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's huge,
Yeah.
huge. And that's a piece of research. That's not just me making that up. And guess what? They're not taught about diet and nutrition or the endocannabinoid system. Cancer, lifestyle. Heart disease, lifestyle. Medical error, not educating our doctors.
Yeah. Um, okay, so I guess my only question for you, Angela, is you have your podcast, right? You're constantly putting out new episodes, which is amazing, but when are you gonna open the Angela Ardolino Institute for Better Living? And how soon can I start taking classes from you? So,
You want to run it for me?
yes, I do actually.
I mean,
Yes.
I do want to get more education out there. I do want, like right now, I'm helping Dr. Ruth Roberts with her pet health coaches,
Yeah.
which is a beautiful thing. So literally veterinarians are learning how to do holistic health, use cannabis and mushrooms from her program, and they get race credits for it. So that's a beautiful thing. But what's really cool is these badass pet parents who are taking it and learning everything and then making a living out of it, whether they're becoming a coach or whether that's helping them do something else. And it's really cool. We're literally building this army, which I feel like you guys are part of this army, where we're going to go out and tell people about how to choose these all natural medicines and use them and not be scared of them,
Yeah.
because you cannot overdose on a mushroom or plant medicine. Your
Right.
body knows what to do with it. Your body will go, oh, got too much. Bye. Get out. It doesn't stop your breathing, your heart. There's no threat whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yet, what does everyone say? Is it going to get me high? What the fuck do you think an opioid does?
Yes.
Why do
Yeah.
I get asked that when I watched at my groom shop people bring in dogs on trazodone who couldn't even stand up because they were scared of going to the groomer?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, we're getting comments from people saying you need to write a book.
Oh, I am. I do have a guide, a plant and mushroom guide, which I think you
Too.
got a copy of.
I have it right here.
Yeah.
And
It's
yes,
I think you can get it on CBD Dog Health's website still. It's the beginning of a book. I just don't have time. And I
you,
hate writing. So it's like I
all
have
right.
so
Well,
many ideas and things like that. I do think we have a program that if a retail store brings us on, they get like a whole training program. So we're adapting that right now for pet parents that want to know more and learn more so that they can like really talk about, yeah, that's it, Lisa, you're the best. Um, that they can learn more, and know how to use it better for both themselves or whole family, because it literally is a game changer. It literally changes. It's like we're just feeding the system. We're feeding our
yeah,
ability to heal ourselves
yeah,
instead of putting things in it that take away that ability.
100%. Well, when the Angela Ardolino Institute for Better Living opens, I will be first in line with my swag bag ready to go. So
I think I am. I think I'm going to pull a picture of me from like 10 years ago before, like my diagnosis, so that people could see what inflammation looks like and what it doesn't look like. Because
100%.
I literally don't do anything but feed my body, hemp and mushrooms and herbs. I eat okay. I exercise okay, but I'm not doing anything crazy.
Yeah.
And it literally makes a difference when you can get that crap out of your house, out of your body, out of your life, how everything else kind of falls into place.
My Crohn's disease has been in remission for over 20 years.
Congratulations. It's
And I
amazing.
am not like, I am also not a paragon of health, but the more I return my body to nature and put nature in my body and cease with the synthetics and the crap that costs too much that you have to go to the pharmacy for and all that, like I just know the better I feel. Um,
I
so
also have had no progression of my rheumatoid arthritis.
amazing.
None. I don't even have like a crooked
You have
knuckle.
straight fingers.
I have
Yes.
straight fingers. So,
No, that's
and
that's a huge thing. If you have rheumatoid arthritis, like I'm not making light of it. There's a lot of people out there who do not have straight fingers because they get that gnarly, knuckledness. Wow. Okay, so here's the deal, my friends. So we put the code for 10% off your first purchase. It is not applicable for a subscription because that gets you a whole different discount,
yeah,
but
that's true.
it's on there. I want to tell you, this is that part where I tell you some exciting stuff about next month. So now that we are learning about how to help ours with nature's medicine, this is the Wholesome Dog website. If you go to our classes web page, beginning next month, March is Why Quality Dog Food Matters Month, and we're kicking it off with the Erin Brockovich of Pet Food Safety, the one, the only, the amazing Susan Thixton. She's going to be coming on and talking about all the scary stuff that you don't want to know but should know about the pet food industry. We're going to be talking about gently cooked food and why some dogs benefit so well from a gently cooked diet compared to raw. And then speaking of magic, we're going to get onto bone broth. You can make it at home, but you should learn why bone broth is so amazing for your cats and your dogs and yourself. And then I mentioned our friend Stephanie Garza, who has way too many initials after her last name. She will be joining us to talk about the role that nutrition plays in affecting our pets' behavior. And this is just next month. We've got so much more coming on. And the other thing I just want to
Amazing.
share, yeah. Oh, I thought,
Amazing. I love
thank
this
you.
lineup.
We're really proud. And I got to give all the credit to Wendy because Wendy, my partner in crime, she's the one that lines all of this up. But we have this resources page. And so if you're like, I don't know what to feed my dog, I don't know what supplements to give my dog. Go to our resources page. These are all brands. Oh, look, there's CBD Dog Health. Um, these are all brands that we personally have have decided are good enough for our dogs, which let me tell you is a very high standard. So if it's not good enough for our dogs, it's not good enough for your dog. We also have a list of educational offerings, recommended readings, and you can always reach out to us if you have questions. All of these are free because we've been there. We have struggled like you have struggled trying to do best by our animals. So, and then lastly, Wendy reminds us to please put a review on the CBD Dog website if you've used their products because they are amazing. I
I would
also just
appreciate that.
want to thank you, Angela, because this plays to this like weird psychological thing I have, which I love gamifying things. And so the point system that you all have at CBD Dog Health, how you can earn points, I kind of feel like a little tiny Mario or Princess Peach every time I go to your website. So thank you. I'm like, oh, they earned more points. Look at me. And then no joke, I cashed in my points not that long ago and I got $50 off my order, y'all, because I had bought enough that I'd earned enough points that I was like, what's I just
Awesome.
paid $20 for all this stuff. So
Awesome.
so
Good to
YouTube,
hear. Good to know. I don't know that side. I know that my team were like, let's do this. I'm like, okay, if people
no,
like
it
it, do it.
works. And I think I just got an email like earlier this week about like, hey, don't forget about our point system. And I'm like, yes, girl, get it. Because I'm all about a good deal. So
Awesome.
Angela, thank you. You are a gift. You are a treasure. I am not joking one bit about the Angela Ardolino Institute for Better Living. So just, call me. I'll help
I
you
will.
out.
I will. I'd love that.
Um, Thank you to everyone who joined us. This will be available on YouTube within the next 48 hours. We'll send out the link to the YouTube. We'll also send out the link for the discount code. And we hope to see you back next week. And thank you, Angela and Amy and her team. And we look forward to seeing you sometime soon.
Thank you, ladies. That was awesome. Nice
Thank
meeting you.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.